Hi, let's try this again. Sorry about that. Tonight we're talking about the workbook, chapter 10, and I'm so sorry I had a little technical problem, lost my connection. We're back, and I'm not going to go through the workbook yet. I'm going to briefly go over what we just said, so please bear with me if you're there again. Tonight I want to welcome not only people in our private Facebook group, but my friends on YouTube. This is going to be a joint thing, so I'm going to also post this on YouTube. I'm not going to use any names or anything from our private group, so it will still be very private and anonymous. I'm just going to take some of the questions that I've received and talk about them again for our bigger audience. I'm just trying so hard to get my message out that diets hurt you, don't help you, that I'm just trying to figure out any which way I can to get as many people involved so more people release that awful diet mentality and instead have this fabulous, healthy, thin mentality that changes your life for the better. So one of the questions before we get into the workbook, which we do our weekly workbook review, we go through the chapters and it's very helpful. But before we do that, just a few answers to questions that people have asked this week. And you guys who watch on YouTube, you're going to love these questions because I know you have them too. I know you do. All dieters do. So one of the ones this week, and I apologize if you've heard me say this, I'm going to do it real quick this time. If you are craving something, I tell you to answer that craving, right? So you're craving something and you eat it and then you feel bad. What should you do? Yes, listen to your craving, but also listen to the response your body gives after you eat it. So you craved something, you ate it, you felt bad. Common sense says, then don't eat it, right? Or at least don't eat it at that time of day, or figure out, is it because you had a completely empty stomach, or because you had, whatever the circumstance is, be your own detective, figure out why it made you feel bad, and don't repeat that, because you'll just feel bad again, right? Common sense, and the diet industry has made us think that it is very, very complicated, but it's very, very simple. Connect with hunger, connect with cravings, connect with the feelings you have after you eat. Do you feel good? And take it from there, okay? And then the next brief little topic I want to talk about here is someone posted a great thing about how long it takes to burn off Reese's Easter egg thing. And it's a crazy amount of time. I can't remember at the moment, but it's a long time. And the point here, and you guys in the private Facebook group as well as you guys on YouTube have already heard me talk about this, how silly it is to exercise just to burn calories so you can eat more. It is so ridiculous because when you exercise, you get hungrier and your body requires more food. So if you're working within a healthy, thin mentality, and I hope you are, then you need to understand that. So you're going to work out and you're going to get hungrier and you're going to eat more. So working out makes you feel good. It's good for you, build your bones, so many great benefits to exercise, but not to lose weight. You exercise to keep things moving. You do the best exercise that there is. You push away from the table when hunger is gone. I love that saying. That's the best exercise for weight loss. Push away when hunger is gone. Hardest the first time, the very hardest. And from there on, you just kind of go in this nice habit forming, and you eventually come to the point where you're like, why would I eat when I'm not hungry? And I know that sounds difficult, but it sounds difficult because we're so used to not respecting our hunger. You're on a diet, you're hungry, no, you can't eat for another 4 hours. Oh, great. So you disrespect that. And that is a holdover that I'm not going to say it's difficult to get rid of that. It just takes consistent commitment too. Because it's not hard like dieting is hard when you're hungry and you can't eat. That's hard. That's hard. And I admire people who've done that. I did that, but I mean, I've seen people lose a lot of weight on a diet. That's a huge, huge success to be able to stick to a diet. But the problem is they don't work long term. So I'm just saying I respect the ability to do it, but it corrupts your relationship with food for a very long time until you actively train to get a normal relationship with food back where eating and hunger go together like Mother Nature intended. So the first point was common sense. If something makes you feel bad, don't eat it. Second one was exercise to feel good, not to burn calories. Third one is if you, a great question, suppose what you're craving just requires cooking and you just don't have time or you just don't want to, what do? You eat something else, right? And you might remember that and go, the other day I was really craving some great thing that you make, that you make, and I just didn't have time. We'll go, well, you know what? Maybe it'd be a good idea to make that and just like put it in the freezer, get it ready. So if I want that again, I'll have it available. I happen to love the tuna fish I make. I mean, it's not fancy or anything, but I just really like it. And sometimes it's a total pain in the neck to make it. So I force myself sometimes, if I just don't have anything to do or whatever, I make it and I put it in the fridge and it's just there. And it lasts quite a while. And I know it's a go-to thing for me. I know I crave it a lot. I know I just love it, and it's there. So you learn to take care of yourself. Learn to have the foods that you like, that you notice you crave a lot, available. Just again, back to common sense, taking care of yourself, listening to your body, listening to your voice, and making plans. It's just like any other part of your life you would take care of. You got a car. You know it's going to need gas soon, so you're going to drive over this way to get the gas instead of going straight to the highway. Stuff like that. Just take care. How do you do that? And we're not used to talking about ourselves that way when it comes to food. We're used to like, oh man, you've gained weight. You must really have a terrible relationship with food and eating, or you must have no discipline, or all these negative things that make you feel bad. And then it's almost like worrying about yourself and eating seems like, well, why would you even worry? I mean, you obviously you could live off your body for quite a while. I really used to think that, well, do you even deserve to eat because you've got weight on you? It's a terrible way to feel and be. Terrible. You got to let go of that and say, yes, no matter what weight you are at this moment, doesn't matter. Your mentality's in here. And when you get the mentality going, the weight will reflect what's going on in your head. Everyone deserves and needs to take care of themselves in terms of their eating. So, another great question, what do you do if you feel self-conscious when you're exercising? And this isn't about body size. It could be, but it could also just be that you're not really great at whatever the class is, or you don't like your outfit, I don't know, or you're the only guy in the class, or it doesn't matter. You must remember that we're all kind of in our own heads. And I taught for many, many years, and I could see it. I'd look out in the sea of faces, and people aren't looking at each other. They're looking at themselves in the mirror, which is fine. I mean, they're focused on them. They're not focused on you. And maybe in between class, you feel like someone looked at you funny. So what? I mean, I know that's not fun. And if somebody did, just imagine what their life must be like if they feel the need to do that to you. And I hope that isn't happening to anybody. But just keep it in perspective, okay? Keep it in perspective. And if you are trying to do a class and you feel like you're being uncoordinated, remember, you're probably the only one noticing. Or if you're in there and you're going, oh, I'm the oldest. Well, someone's going to be the oldest. And I remember years ago when I was on the younger end, if I saw an older man or woman in class taking my class, or if I went to somebody else's class, that made me happy because I'm like, wow, I'll still be able to do this because look at them, they can. So don't underestimate that maybe you're being a really great role model if you're on the older end. And if you feel like you're the heaviest, someone's going to be the heaviest. And it doesn't matter to other people if it's you. It only matters to you, okay? So lighten up on yourselves. Don't just look around the room yourself. Look and see who else is. Look at where other people's eyes are. And in general, if there's a mirror, it's on themselves. Or they're talking to their friend, or they're watching. So that perceived criticism that people sometimes feel in a group class, from my experience, is very rare. Most people are nice. Most people are pretty nice. And team effort, you're all in the room. So if you feel that, you feel it. I understand. You can't negate that you feel it. But just try to move through it. And try to notice if anyone's really looking at you. And just let that negative thought fade away. Okay? We're going to go to our workbook now. We're on chapter 10. And this is a great chapter because it deals with something that we all talk about a lot, and it comes up a lot, and is when you're building your thin mentality and you're just bored, and you go, well, God, when I didn't have a healthy thin mentality, or when I was heavier, I used food as entertainment and all blah, blah, blah. So what do you replace that with now? Well, I always like to read the first little blurb because I really took a long time to figure out what to write in these, and I do love them when I look back on it. So good. Cook, for example, to solve boredom. Eat to solve hunger. And that may sound pretty simple, but I'll explain. The first little part of this chapter is, let's do a little math here. When you cook and you have family over, let's say, or you whatever your eating scene is that relieves boredom, disassociate that whole thing where you're preparing food and you got family over and doorbell rings or people walk in, and it's fun and it's great and everything, and you're not bored because you're cooking, or if you cooked in the afternoon, or if you're going to a restaurant and that's fun, or however you do it, or if you're going to your parents' house and they're cooking and it's just fun, whatever it is, separate that from chewing, okay? And what you'll see is the chewing is very brief in comparison to everything else. It's very brief, and there's exercise in here where you count how many bites you take, and if you were gonna solve boredom by chewing, you're gonna be to solve boredom by chewing, the actual act of eating, that would take so much food. No one could do that. I mean, that's an extreme case. So don't think of, if I don't have food in my life like I do now, when I have that feeling and I just want to cook and use food to relieve boredom, I won't be able to. See, yes, you can. And this is such a different thought than most people who talk about this go. Yes, you can. You can cook. You can do all those things. And when you're hungry, chew, eat it. It's great. But you will never be able to solve boredom by chewing, because you can get so much food down so quickly. I mean, if you really count, and there's exercise in here to do that, you'll see that it's a couple of minutes. So, okay, so you're not bored for a couple of minutes because you're actually chewing, and that feels good and all, but that's not sustainable. So you're not even really doing that now, because if you were, you'd be, it would be your whole life. You would be consuming so many calories, and that's not what you're doing. So if you're saying, well, okay, I go and I sit on the couch and I eat potato chips and that solves my boredom. Again, you have the big bowl, you're sitting there and you're chewing. It's having that bowl, it's reaching in, it's all the things that go around with it. But if you had to go sit somewhere and just eat them quietly in a dark closet, it would go pretty fast, I mean, I am a fast eater, but so just look at it differently. Look at what you're doing more realistically, and enjoy preparing food. Enjoy making your pantry fabulous with all the things you love. And when you have a healthy thin mentality, that's not scary. That's taking care of yourself. I used to, just like so many people I know, not have food in my house that I loved because I would eat it. And that's only because I had been a dieter. If I'd never dieted, that would not be the case, because I wasn't like that when I was very young. But then I started dieting, 14, 15 years old, whatever. And for 25 years, I was afraid of food because I dieted and made myself hungry, freaked my body out. And then anytime I was around something really great that I loved, I was, well, I'm going to eat it because I don't have it at home, because I can't have it at home, because then I'll eat it. So I'm out here, and it's at my friend's house, and she has it, and she doesn't care if I eat it, but I'll eat it here, and then it won't be at home, so then I'll be fine. So I'll just eat it here. I mean, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. So, and I did it. I'm not calling anybody stupid. I'm calling what I did just a bad path. And I know it's repeated, I want to say millions of times a day, all over this nation. It was really awesome the other day. The little books I've written now are in 6 continents. People have reached out to me for them, which makes me so happy because, well, it makes me sad because that means it's a problem everywhere. But it also makes me happy because I think maybe sometime people will this message will get out there by not just from me, but from others too. So I was really psyched. That was good. So take very good care of what you're thinking about yourself when you're thinking about boredom eating, and be really realistic with exactly what's going on when you do that. And if you, like, another example, so you're going out to a restaurant and you're thinking, well, I'm kind of bored tonight. My friends want to go out, but I can't go because, we'll be sitting there and I'll just keep eating, and I know I'll overeat and all of that. Okay, but look at the restaurant experience. It's different than you used to. Look at it as more of food is part of it. It's not the whole thing. The best thing about going out to dinner is being with people and having, it's fun to have someone bring you food and all that stuff, and enjoy all of that. And just eat it when you're hungry. And if you're not hungry, delay. And if it's a long dinner, you might get hungry again, and then eat some more, or order something else, or eat the bread that's still on the table. It's all open to you. There are no rules. The only thing you do, and I don't even want to call it a rule. Sometimes I do, but I don't really want to even call it that. There's only one path, that little path. It's in your heart, it's in your head, it's in your soul of what you should eat, because your body's going to tell you. It's going to tell you so clearly you're not even going to believe it. I don't believe it sometimes. I'm so glad, but I can't believe it sometimes. Example, yesterday, I just really wanted wheat thins. I just really did. And they're really salty, which I actually like. And I'm, why am I just shoving all these down? Why do I want these so bad? Then I remembered that I had gotten really sweaty, I don't know, a couple hours earlier. I'm like, that's why. And I didn't have water with me, so it's no big deal. But I'm constantly, even so long into it, I'm constantly happily surprised, even me, how I can hear what I need. And even if you're not, obviously it takes a little time to get here, but you do feel it already. You felt that thirst. And like thirst is an easier one for us. And oh my God, I'm so thirsty, whatever you did something, and you drink it and it feels so right. That's what food will feel like, all the different varieties. That's what it feels like when you get this. And you just eat it. And the other night, I was eating this green yummy salad with this dressing that was so great. It was just like some, I don't know, vinegary, but had some sugar in it. And my mouth just went, yay. And I was like, my body is just so glad I'm eating this. I don't know why, but I'm getting such positive reinforcement from my taste buds, from my body. It just felt great. I was going, so good, so good. And that sounds goofy, but it's true. It does give you that. Your body does give you that reward for behavior that is, I was going to say good, but I don't want to say good, for behavior that is consistent with what your body's asking you for. So just please trust me on that. So in this chapter, there's a whole lot about example of boredom eating, and then I'm asking you to write your healthy thin mentality perspective. Sometimes I do worry that this workbook, that people will just not feel like filling this out. I implore you to do it. There's something about writing it out that gets into your soul a little bit better. And it's also good to go back and look at this later. So, if it's tedious or you want to do it on your computer and whatever, but really taking a moment to pay attention and answer these questions with some little soul searching on the actual reality of this pays you back in so many ways. So please do it. I know you have doubts about this. I always write that I know you have doubts because I had doubts, and I thankfully have a good memory for this kind of stuff. So I remember what it was like. I remember being scared. I'm just gonna, I had given up. I was like, I cannot diet anymore. If I'm just gonna gain a bunch of weight, you know what? I'll be fine. I just can't do it anymore. But I still was scared. I didn't really want to, get used to having your body in a way, but the realization that all along it had been within me and not out, where I was constantly seeking. Like I would buy a diet book and read it before I went to bed at night. Okay, maybe this is the answer, and that would motivate me to be good for X amount of time, and I would be so happy when I found a new diet book with a new thought, and okay, well, I can feast on this mentally for a while I will I lose some weight? And it was always the same. And I bet it is for you too, where you would lose some weight. And everyone, oh, you look great, and you feel great, and you go, yay. But you gain it back because your body doesn't want you to lose weight that way. Your body wants you to lose weight by listening, not by forcing it to starve or to eat things you don't want, or to eat at 9 a.m. when you don't want to eat till 11, or waiting till noon when you want to eat at 6 a.m. This whole thing works with your lifestyle, with who you are, with who your ancestors were. And I bring up that one a lot lately, mostly because I hear all the ancestors.com and all that stuff, and how people really, have a lot of history personally in them, in their DNA and what they're made of. Think how dieting ignores that. It ignores it. We're all the same. We all exercise the same amount. I'm saying that because, the calorie variations are pretty small, and they really it seems like a one-size-fits-all plan. When I worked at Nutrisystem, that's what it was. That we didn't modify it at all. Did we modify it a little bit for guys? Probably, I guess, but I'm having a hard time remembering that. We probably did, but it was one size fits all. Whether you came in weighing 400 pounds or 150, think what the different requirements are for those two people. Why would you put someone who was 400 pounds on a calorie deprivation that you were the same one for someone who's 150? So this person's going to be really miserable because their body's using up a whole lot more calories than that just to sustain itself. So give yourself a chance. Give your body a chance to talk to you. And give your body a chance to let you know and express your unique everything. Because everything about you, the combination that is you, is unique. And you're the only one who can listen. I can't listen to it for you. Dr. Oz can't listen to it for you. Whoever the latest new guy or woman is can't listen to it for you. Only you can. And it's really there. And, one more really cute story. I was watching last night on television the Beverly Hills dog show. Not like the Westminster, but I guess they wanted Beverly Hills. And there were so many dogs. I really caught the end of it. And so they were doing the best in show. So they had a pit bull and a little Bichon and an effin' pointer, which was super cute, and spaniels and Weimaraners and all these dogs and the little short corgi thing. And I've talked about dogs with you guys and how we respect all those dogs in their glory. And one is tall and thin, one is short and squatty, and all of them are beautiful. We're talking to all of them, and they're all beautiful. They're not fat, they're just built different. But we don't give ourselves that, And I'm not saying just be heavy. I'm not, because I don't want to be heavy. I don't. For me. I'm not saying for anybody else. For me. But I want to be my size. And you probably want to be your size. If you want to be, again, I'll use a dog example because I think it's so good. If you're a little Bichon, which is the little thing, fluffy thing, and you want to be a Weimaraner, which is the wiry, it's not going to happen. Just give it up. It's not worth it. Little Bichons are really cute, and so are the big dog I just said, the Weimaraner, whatever. But you're never going to diet your way or work out your way to be that. And we think because we see models in magazines that that's attainable. And sometimes people say there aren't girls who look like this. There are. I see beautiful skinny girls. Yeah, there are. And good for them, and that's great. Admire that. But be you. And so the point of the story is that I'm watching all these dogs and big, little, round, funny looking, look, and the commentators, oh my, beautiful dog, beautiful dog, beautiful dog, beautiful dog. And it's so lovely. Can we not do that for ourselves? The dogs aren't overweight. They're just what they are. And they look pretty happy. And it's pretty simple, but no one makes money off of telling a little dog that they need to lose weight. I mean, I guess owners overfeed their dogs and dogs get fat, but I'm saying in their body types, how they were built is respected. And we're not all built the same. Thank goodness. How boring that would be. And we're made to think that the tall, skinny girls are the sexy ones, but that's not true. Or the tall, skinny men are the sexy ones, but that's not true. That's not true. That's just an image on a magazine. What is beautiful and lovely is people who are themselves and who feel good. And the least, I'll use the word sexy again, person, is that person who is obsessing over what to order and having a Diet Coke and a salad all the time and counting this. Ugh, that's no fun to be with. It's no fun to be. So, and another thing, I'm rambling, but another thing is, I know that some of those tall, lovely girls really probably are not meant to be that thin. And they're sacrificing a whole bunch to be that way. And including probably being pretty grumpy and maybe not feeling very sexual because they're starving themselves. So that's kind of a sideways, turn there. But I think about that there's nothing sexy about getting in bed with somebody who's starving and distracted and it doesn't feel good. And when your body is starving, it's not in the mood. So remember that. Remember that. It's important to know the best thing is to be yourself and to be the body you are, not overweight, but the body you are. And your healthy thin mentality is the way to get there without payback. So, I think I talked a lot. I don't have my clock, but I know I had a rough start here because my feed messed up. Anyway, it's great to see you guys. I'm not using names because I'm going to post this on YouTube too. But our private discussions here will always be private. And you guys on YouTube, come join our group if you want. Then you can be part of the private stuff too and get support. I love you guys. So supportive of each other. It makes me so happy. So anyway, take care. Send questions, all that stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.